Ever thought about swallowing an innocent creature whole in attempts to gain magical abilities? Me neither, that is, until I played Kirby Superstar for the Super Nintendo. Hey everyone, I'm Sealaxx and welcome to the first episode of Retro Hold Up, the show where we play retro games and evaluate them to see how they hold up today. For this episode, we're taking a look at Kirby Superstar for the Super Nintendo. I know that many people hold this game near and dear, but personally, I've never been the biggest Kirby fan. I played the remake for this game, Kirby Superstar Ultra, when it first came out for the DS, but besides that, I really have no other nostalgia for the series at all. Keep in mind that this is my opinion of the game, so feel free to disagree with me in the comments. With that out of the way, let's take a look at this epic 16-bit adventure. Kirby Superstar was released in 1995 by developer HAL Laboratory for the Super Nintendo. Boasting a mighty 8 games in one, the pink protagonist drew in old and new fans alike. You might be asking yourself how a Kirby game, nonetheless a Super Nintendo game, packs 8 games in one cartridge? Well, there really aren't 8 full adventures in the game, but 8 smaller quests that have different storylines. Don't let this fool you though, each of these games is great in its own right and they all fit together cohesively. Let's take a quick second to talk about how Kirby controls before we talk about these sub-games. He can walk, run, and climb using the D-pad or jump by pressing the B button. Pressing the B button more than once will allow Kirby to float and gain altitude. The Menace can also inhale enemies and other objects by pressing and holding the Y button, and pressing it again will exhale them as lethal projectiles. Sometimes Kirby will inhale an enemy that will give him a certain ability. To obtain this, press down on the D-pad or the A button. There are a total of 19 enemies that will give Kirby a unique ability. Each standard ability has a couple ways to attack, so it feels kinda like Smash Bros. These awesome upgrades include the ability to breathe fire, shoot plasma, throw blades, and much more. A few abilities such as the microphone can only be used a finite amount of times, but their power makes up for it. But my personal favorites are Beam, which gives you ranged magical attacks and powerful charge blasts, Bomb, which lets you throw explosives which detonate on impact, and Yo-Yo, which allows you to take directional control of a yo-yo that can do a good amount of damage. As if the abilities weren't powerful enough, pressing the A button while you're powered up will forfeit your ability and summon an AI-controlled helper who will help you fight. A second player can take control of this minion for some awesome couch co-op. Too bad I don't have any friends to play with me. Oh, and also you kiss your helper to share health. I can't decide whether this makes me feel bubbly inside or just plain uncomfortable. It's time to talk about each of the game's 8 sub-games. When you first boot up the game, you have a choice of playing one of 6 games. The first of these games is Spring Breeze, which is a loose recreation of Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy. This is your typical Kirby adventure, easygoing and lighthearted. The selfish King Dedede and his army have taken all the food in Dreamland, and it's up to Kirby to get it all back to the citizens. To complete this quest, you'll have to make your way through a couple of simple but captivating levels before fighting the king himself. These levels offer up amazing 16-bit visuals and incredible music. This is one of the things that Kirby Superstar does best. It was released very late in the Super Nintendo's life cycle, so it really took advantage of the hardware. Every bit of this game looks vibrant and will keep your attention. These jaw-dropping visuals, mixed with some of the best music in not only the Super Nintendo's library, but all of gaming in general, makes for an absolutely immersive and ambient experience. I'll admit, Spring Breeze is really a walk in the park even for beginner players, but it serves as a nice way to get used to controlling Kirby and his abilities. After defeating Dedede, who's honestly a pushover, you're treated to a cute cutscene of Kirby returning Dreamland's food and bringing the land to peace. The second adventure on the cartridge, Dynablade, is a fun quest to stop an evil bird from destroying Dreamland's crops. This game mode seems a lot like an old school Mario game, with an overworld map that serves as a hub for Kirby to move throughout diverse levels. The level design in this game is incredible, and I really applaud the developers for creating stages that are complex, yet smooth to play through. The camera leaves Kirby in the dead center of the screen, giving players ample time to get aware of their surroundings. Very rarely did I feel like I was getting cheap hits that were out of my control. Every time I got hit, it was my fault, but every time I hit an enemy, I was the reason for it, which makes combat feel instantly rewarding. After you make your way through a couple mini-bosses and somewhat challenging platforming sections, you'll fight the game's first really challenging boss, the beaked baddie Dynablade. As soon as I started this fight, I realized that this game was more than a pleasant walk on the beach. It did have some true challenge. Every main boss past this point is really fun to fight, and it feels good being able to beat them after learning their patterns and maybe even failing a couple of times. The upside to having a wide variety of abilities at your disposal means that there are tons of unique strategies for each boss fight that can really adapt to your playstyle. Finding a boss for a second or even a third time can feel completely fresh if you're using a new ability. After defeating Dynablade, you befriend him and Dreamland is returned back to normal. Gourmet Race is the third game available to you, and it's completely different from anything else on the cartridge. Instead of platforming and defeating enemies, you race King Dedede through various courses collecting food. The amount of food you collect combined with the time it took you to get to the finish line will determine your final results. It only took me 2 tries before I won all 3 races, so for me there isn't very much replay value here, but it was still a lot of fun. I'll be shipping the next 2 sub-games together, if you even want to call them sub-games. Samurai Kirby and Megaton Punch are 2 extremely short and to the point mini-games. In Samurai Kirby, you're set up against various opponents that test your reflexes. You stand still until an exclamation point appears on screen. If you tap the A button before your opponent, you win. In Megaton Punch, you face off against an enemy to see who can break further into the planet. You have to time a series of 3 button presses, where the closer you are to perfection, the deeper into the planet your punch goes. Some of the Mario gang even came along to witness the sheer power. These 2 sub-games felt extremely small and there isn't really much to do after you've played them a few times. At least in Gourmet Race you need to hone your skills controlling Kirby and navigating stages. To me, these 2 seem a little cheap to be called their own games, but I'll let it slide because they're fun in their own respects and the rest of the adventure makes up for it. The 6th sub-game in the library is the Great Cave Offensive, which truly lives up to its name. This treasure hunting, puzzle solving quest is huge, with lots of space to explore. In this adventure, Kirby falls into a mine and that's pretty much the whole storyline here. This mode has you making a trek through countless rooms and areas in order to find as many of the 60 total treasures hidden within the cavern as you can. At first, I really didn't enjoy this game until I understood that it was supposed to be played slowly. It really tests your skills and understanding of some of the game's hidden mechanics, such as slicing rope with the cutter ability. If you put the time into it and you're willing to explore every nook and cranny of the cave, this adventure is incredibly atmospheric and all around a fun and relaxing time. The Great Cave Offensive is a wonderful addition to Kirby Superstar, and after accepting it for the quest it was trying to be, I thoroughly enjoyed it. This one may take you a while, but don't worry because there are many places for you to save and continue later. And again, that music. After completing the first 6 sub-games, you unlock the 7th, Revenge of Meta Knight. This edition is incredibly dialogue-based and intense the whole way through. Bent on domination, the evil Meta Knight and his crew take to the skies on their airship, the Halberd. It's up to Kirby to stop Meta Knight from following through on his evil intentions by destroying both him and the Halberd. You make your way through the ship, destroying it piece by piece. There's a countdown timer on the screen going down rapidly in order to make the destruction of the ship feel even more important. This stage will leave your palms sweating, and breaking concentration even for a short period of time might end up costing you. Throughout the journey, the Halberd's crew members are making seriously intimidating and sometimes funny remarks that'll keep you interested in the storyline the whole way. This mode really immerses you in the game and makes you feel pressured to complete the fight to destroy the ship. At the end of the level, you come face to face with Meta Knight for an intense sword fight. After emerging victorious, Kirby watches the Halberd crash and sink into the sea as Dreamland returns back to normal. Once you've beaten Revenge of Meta Knight, you are rewarded with the final sub-game in the collection, Milky Way Wishes, and let me tell you, this adventure will not let you down. The sun and the moon are fighting, disturbing all of Planet Popstar. Fed up with the battle, Kirby seeks a way to end the mayhem. A peculiar jester named Marx explains to Kirby that the mighty comet Nova can grant him the wish to stop the fighting. However, Kirby will need to gain energy from the surrounding planets to allow Nova to grant him his wish. In this mode, Kirby floats around on a warp star in an overworld map, which allows you to visit planets one by one. Milky Way Wishes is a lot like Spring Breeze and Dynablade, focused on a mixture of platforming and combat. However, it throws a major curveball at you. No longer can you swallow enemies to obtain their abilities. You must find deluxe copy abilities on pedestals which allow you to have the ability at your disposal whenever you'd like. These abilities sometimes take plenty of skill and exploration to reach, giving this mode lots of replay value. Each planet has its own theme and it's very different from all the other planets you might visit. One planet is a winter wonderland, whereas another is a burning hell pit filled with lava. The sheer variety in this mode is incredible and it's by far my favorite sub-game that Kirby Superstar has to offer. After collecting energy from each planet, Kirby finally gets to have Nova grant him his wish to stop the feud between the sun and the moon. I'm not going to spoil the rest of the storyline for you as it's super surprising, and I think that you should experience it for yourself if you're going to play the game. Milky Way Wishes is easily the most in-depth sub-game offered, and it's very engaging and fun, and it's personally my favorite sub-game in the collection. You'd think that completing Milky Way Wishes, the final sub-game, would be the end of the game. However, finishing every mode on the cartridge unlocks a 9th secret game mode, the Arena. This glorified boss rush sees you fighting your way through all of the game's 19 bosses to prove yourself the strongest fighter in Dreamland. You can begin the challenge with any ability or helper you'd like. However, each boss battle completed will give you the choice of only 1 or 2 new abilities to switch to, so choose wisely. You also have very limited health items, and dying once means starting all over from the first boss. The Arena is a great game mode that really tests your abilities as a player. I've also heard that it's even better co-op, but again, I don't have any friends to play with. Overall, Kirby Superstar is a great game for the Super Nintendo, but the real question is, does it hold up today? This game puts a lot on the table for players. Although it's not just one grand adventure, there's plenty of diversity within the total of 9 sub-games, so there's a lot to do in Kirby Superstar. Each mode is fun in its own right, and this game isn't all that long, so it's perfect to pick up and play. The many abilities and alternate ways to finish stages adds tons of replay value that will keep you coming back for more. I played through this game twice in 3 days to formulate my opinions and thoughts on it, and I will say that I enjoyed every second of the experience. The sub-games themselves are all great, and that's not even mentioning the vivid 16-bit graphics that look beautiful to this date, the music that fits each level perfectly, or the controls that feel smooth as silk. I went into this game without any bias towards Kirby, not knowing what to think, but I came out of it in awe of what I just played. This game has become not only one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, but perhaps one of my favorite games of all time. Kirby Superstar is an amazing game that holds up perfectly today, and I would highly recommend it to anyone. If you don't have a Super Nintendo, you can find it on the Wii U's Virtual Console, or you can play its remake Superstar Ultra for the DS. There's absolutely no reason for you not to play Kirby Superstar, even if you're not a fan of the series. It's become one of my favorite digital adventures, and I'm sure it will become one of yours. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It's the first video on my channel and I spent a lot of time on it, so hopefully you enjoyed it. If you guys have any suggestions of retro games you want me to play on the next episode of Retro Hold Up, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys for all of your support, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.